Well, it's all about feature finals. We've got two of them this weekend. The Group 2 All-Stars Sprint on Saturday night and also the Great Western Final on Friday night. Hello and welcome to the Wednesday preview. You're with me, James Broadhurst, and I'm joined by Troy Iwanek. How are you, Troy?
Yeah, great to be here. I'm very well. How are you, James?
I'm going well. I'm excited, actually, because this Group 2 race we've got on Saturday night is an absolute perler, as it always is. This year, no exception.
Yeah, I think we mentioned last week, Group 2 All-Stars, one of the bigger cards on our program in WA, always attracts some pretty handy dogs and hasn't been any disappointment this year. We've got a pretty good field to go through.
We certainly do. Before we get to that and have a look at the field, let's go back to last week, Troy, and go back to the heats. Let's have a look at Emerald Guard and the way that greyhound made his way into the trophy decider. And from the red, Emerald Guard is away only moderately as Custard Manelli hits the front. But here's Molfetta Cruz sweeping across from the 7. Molfetta Cruz gets to the lead, but Emerald Guard is lurking along the rail. Emerald Guard sneaks underneath on the turn, and then he's into the lead. Now it's between Emerald Guard and Molfetta Cruz, and Emerald Guard is too good. He draws away and wins in 27.05. That was the fastest qualifying time of the 3 heats. First win from Emerald Guard since August, can you believe? Nice win, what he needed to get his campaign back on track there, Emerald Guard, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think fairness to say, last week we spoke about this greyhound and I gave it a good push. I said it was just gaining form regularly, almost to the point of peaking where this greyhound was going to go well. From the red, looked ideal, and it went to perfection for the greyhound. Draws the red again this week, James. So for mine, I want to be on again. I think it goes right into this race. We'll obviously go through with the other runners, but he puts himself right into this race if he gets a clean run early. He does need to avoid trouble because we know he needs to wind up. So
indeed, as you mentioned, Troy, he's got box 1 having a look at the field as we speak. And that red box suits Emerald Guard just fine. Can he sit off the pace early and then power home along the rail like he did last week? Big chance to do so. Also with the same draw that she got in her heat win, Wise Barra. Now she's the quickest dog early and she can use this inside draw to lead like she did last week. She's got Daddy's Girl on her outside. Daddy's Girl generally pretty moderate, so even though Wise Barra can go up the track a little bit, I think she might get a clear look at this early doors here. I'm looking also in this race out to boxes 5 and 6. We've got Molfetta Cruz and My Anarchy Boy. My Anarchy Boy, big win, nice win from box 1 last week. A lot tougher task from this draw in this week's final. But I want to get your thoughts, actually, Troy, on Molfetta Cruz. We saw him in the replay there, loomed up, took the lead at one point in that race, and then didn't quite finish the job. Where do you think he's at the moment, and what do you think his prospects are from box 5? The lemon in this one.
Yeah, I think because we expect so much from Molfetta Cruz now, from what he did.
Yes.
When he doesn't quite get the job done, we probably come away thinking, it's a little bit disappointing.
Right.
Not necessarily true, though, because still a big run and you'd be very happy with the run and performance. So I think he's going well, to be honest.
Yep.
My concern here is I really think Molfetta Cruz and My Anarchy Boy have drawn terribly in this race. It really brings their chances undone a little bit. Not saying they can't win, because I'd never say that, but it's going to make it very tough. I think when we go outside, we've got Sunset Nightjar. I think she's positioned well. She doesn't mind the wide draw, got pace with those dogs on the inside. Burglemy is not really going to hamper her.
No.
And I think she gets to run into this race beautifully. Emerald Guard off the red with, as you've mentioned, Wise Barra in the 2, who I expect will probably lead. And then Daddy's Girl will sit there as well. I think Emerald Guard gets a perfect sit behind them, so that's why I was giving it a strong push again this week. The one that we haven't really talked about yet, which I am a little bit keen on as a smoky, is Bungee Man.
Okay.
Showed good pace last week.
Did, yeah.
From a wide draw in a tough race. Ran good time and put himself right in the race. With the right sort of run, he could run a very cheeky race. Do I think he's going to win?
Yeah.
He's going to need a lot of luck, but he could be one that gets, if there is any trouble, the right run in this and be right there.
I think given the Wise Barra scenario with him, with Bungee Man that is this week, I think he's going to find it hard to find the lead this week, which I think is going to be the difference between what he did in the heats and in this final here. So I think that probably plays a big role in where he ends up in this one.
As I said, he needs luck,
Yeah.
but just off that run last week, I would be considering him a smoky in this.
I actually really like the run, speaking of dogs that are smokies in this one, or outsiders, like the run of Burglemere last week. Thought this is a dog to follow. Maybe not in this race, but when he goes into like easier company, I think there's a dog you can keep your eye on.
I reckon when he gets back to Cannington, he'll be the greyhound that we want to be following, because there's going to be dogs, and we spoke about this when Cannington originally shut and we went to Mandurah, and we said there's going to be dogs that this track just isn't going to suit, and when we get back to Cannington, they're going to be back in their element. Now, Burglemere for me is, we saw him in, I think it was a Perth Cup heat, and a few other races, some really nice runs. Didn't really take to the Mandurah track. Last week was a vast improvement for mine on recent runs. He might just be starting to find his way around the circuit, which poor timing for him, unfortunately,
just
because
in time from Cannington to get up in a few weeks.
In some respect, because never poor timing to get used to the track.
Sure.
He can always go back there and run, but I think when he goes to Cannington, he's going to be a much nicer betting prospect, because I think he's going to suit that track better.
Look, in terms of this race, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? Obviously, Emerald Guard with the draw is a big factor here. Wise Barra also, if that dog's able to get away. I'm not into. Even though I really like Meineke Boy, I think the draw does make it super hard for him. Not entirely ruling out Molfetta Cruz, because you've got to remember the time on that race last week. It was the fastest qualifier, and Molfetta Cruz ended up finishing second, but he ran 27.15 coming second. It was a good run, and as we know, we've seen this dog rip off 5 in a row. Picked up the Mandurah Cup a bit earlier on in the year. So
I think in saying what you're saying though, we have to give Emerald Guard huge credit for the run. Because this is a greyhound. We know how strong this greyhound finishes. So when we say Molfetta Cruz got beaten, it wasn't beaten by a dog that was tiring or getting. It was a dog that was really hitting the line hard and running quick time. So full credit, and that's what I said. I don't think Molfetta Cruz is in bad form. Just think the box draw could play a little bit tricky.
Of course, yeah, definitely. Look, good race, isn't it? Those inside draws loom very prominently, but of course there are other scenarios that could play out.
You know what, James?
Oh, here we go. I think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, I think you do. They're like something out of bet, because it is one of those races where on paper it maps a certain way, but greyhounds being greyhounds, they could do something different. And if it does go a little astray out the boxes and something gets the right run, then you could find a bit of value. So in such an open, strong race, being a Group 2 All-Stars final, if you like something, have a play. But you know our thoughts, but have a play.
Well, some of that value could come from Meineke Boy, and I spoke to the trainer, Adam Smithson, during the week. Very happy with the dog, very happy with the heat win. But of course, fair to say, Troy, not super confident with his prospects in this final from box 6.
On paper, the draw's an absolute nightmare for him. He's right up against it. He's going to need a heap of luck, but I think he'd be the fastest, or one of the fastest dogs in the race. We're just hoping for quite a bit of luck, which it's unfortunate to draw so awkwardly, but you got to be in it to win it. So hopefully by some miracle he can lob into a spot down the back and put himself into the race.
Well, of course, we've got another big final on the weekend. That's the night before Friday night down there at Mandurah, and that is the Great Western. From the heats last week, we saw Rod Noden very prominent, his kennel taking out 2 of the 3 heats, with Ned, the fastest qualifier, and also Apache Havoc. Why don't we go back and have a look at Apache Havoc's win? And once again, it's that lightning mustering speed. Not like quick out of the boxes, but he does muster really quickly, and this time he bursts through from the lemon to quickly gobble up another James and surge to the lead.
Apache Havoc and our Aussie Opal are matching strides. Then another James. Apache Havoc, our Aussie Opal, Apache Havoc.
And as we can see with the field here, those 2 Rod Noden chasers, Ned and Apache Havoc, drawing 1 and 2. That's pretty handy for him. And also the other heat winner, Bo Cruz, out of box 3 here. And what a run that was from Beau Cruz last week. First up over the 400-metre journey. Yes, had the red, but took full toll. Based on that effort, he can match it with Apache Havoc early. We also saw Ned jump the best he ever has last week. So there could be sparks from these 3 inside draws early here, Troy. What happens between those 3 dogs, and are you looking at any of the other boxes in this race?
Yeah, for sure. I 100% agree. Look, I'll say it when I'm wrong, and I probably didn't give Apache Havoc enough credit last week in that draw. Had another James on the inside, and we thought from those inside draws they were going to find each other.
Might be a
and
clash.
I went inside draw in one and outside draw in the pink, but it was just too good. Just had too much pace, found the arm, and was just electric. So yeah, I agree. Inside draws, while beneficial, may not be this week if they all jump equal.
If they all jump.
Someone has to give way somewhere. Barring those 3, we've already spent time talking about those 3. I want to move to the outside a little bit. Talk about another James. This greyhound, we've spoken about him plenty last week, and we know that he's a greyhound that's got a lot of ability when he gets the right run. He could very well position himself well from out wide, and if there is trouble on the inside, he's the one you want to be looking at.
Probably.
And another greyhound I want to talk about is Water Ripper.
Yeah.
Big greyhound who I like from a wide draw when he gets one, because he does like to wind up around him, and he's got a bit of pace.
I actually liked him from the 1 last week, and so I think his task this week's a little bit harder, but you think he might go better from wide?
I've just always liked him when he's been in, well, more box 8 to be honest, when there's been pace, because he's a big dog. He takes a few strides to get sort of bounding up. So I would keep him safe. I feel like he should be kept safe. And I know we could go through the whole field.
Sure.
Torino's been racing well with the right run, needs to get the right run to perform. Our Aussie Opal, I thought the greyhound was a great run last week as well. In the squeeze box this week with pace on the inside and potentially on the outside, so just not sure where that greyhound positions. And if we're going to talk about a more lip tricks from the wire draw, capable but probably needs a little bit of luck. So I think we've summed up that race.
Certainly have. You putting your money down on anything here? Or? I'm putting my money down on there being fireworks early out of this inside draw.
Yeah, I think there will be, and that's probably if I'm going to have a bet in this race, I'm probably going to be on another James.
Okay.
Only
As an
because
each way? You think he'll come up each way?
If you get the value each way, depends on where the punters want to land on this and where the what the place value sits at. If it's too short, I wouldn't be taking it. But I just think he's a capable greyhound with the right run, and if all the pace is on the inside and they're all finding each other and he happens to jump and get a clean run out wide, and I don't think Water Ripper will come down on him, he'll stay off. So I just think, another James is probably the one that I'd want to have a bet on if he's good value, because I think if he's good value, you could do very well in this race.
All right, there we go. Another interesting feature final we've got this weekend. That is the Great Western at Mandurah on Friday. We're also chasing tonight at Mandurah, Troy. 13 races. First at 6:49 p.m. Free entry as it is each and every night here at Greyhounds WA. Do you have a best bet for us?
Yeah, well, I was going to tip the greyhound that you're about to tip, so I've
beat you to it, mate.
Well, you're preaching to the choir when you said it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm on board. So I've looked elsewhere. I'm not one that always goes looking for the 300-metre races to have a best bet on a card, because they can be a bit tricky.
Yeah.
But I've come up with one here.
Can be a bit variable, can't they?
Oh, the variables are quite significant in those races. Race 5, number 7, a greyhound called Brain Teaser. It took me a bit of a brain teaser to figure out where I was going tonight. Very tough card. I think this greyhound's in good form. It's a tough race, but I think from the wider draw, if a few of the inside division do find each other, I think he will be the one skirting around the outside. And with it being a tough race, we might get a bit of value for this greyhound. Now, if there's each way odds, take the each way. But I'm not saying I'm 100% confident he's going to win. But I think with the right run, he could be a value bet.
All right, there we go. Well, I'm going to keep everyone in suspense and no, here it is. We're going to break the suspense. Race 6, number 3, Halloumi Manelli, the dog that we both like tonight at Mandurah. Look, I tipped against this dog last week. That was a mistake, wasn't it?
Well, the punters didn't think so. They jumped on probably.
They did, probably because I tipped against it. But wow, what a run. Yeah. I mean, we always knew this dog, from what we've seen in the past, had early pace, but really took it to the next level last week. Really quick early section, clocked a PB time, and she does a similar sort of performance tonight. I can't see her getting beaten.
Well, for me, on paper, she looks a class above the field.
Yeah.
And anywhere near a repeat of last week gets the job done for mine.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Dog on the up.
Yeah, it is, and it looks very, very tough to beat. I said it would have been my best bet on the card, so I'm supporting you wholeheartedly. I think this week we should see that greyhound go back to back.
We have absolutely destroyed any chances Halloumi Manelli.
So if you like something in the race, have a bet each way.
By the way, you know Halloumi Manelli's a good dog if she's able to overcome both of us tipping it. Race 6, number 3 tonight.
But you not always say, James, if you like something in the race.
There we go. That is our thoughts for tonight, and indeed for the feature races this weekend. Hopefully you can make it down to the track, but either way, we'll catch you next week on the Wednesday preview.